Right now in Japan, there's this huge debate happening about its currency, the yen. For some people, it's a total disaster. For others, it's a golden opportunity. Well, today, we're going to break that all down.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Is Japan's currency its own worst enemy? I mean, is this some kind of self-inflicted wound? Or is there a whole other side of this story that we're missing? Let's dig into the two competing theories.
All right, first things first, let's make sure we're all on the same page. What even is a weak yen, or as they say in Japan, enyasu? It's pretty simple, actually. It just means your yen doesn't go as far when you're buying foreign stuff. So for the average person in Japan, that trip to the grocery store, filling up your car with gas, all of that suddenly gets a lot more expensive.
Okay, let's start with what some people are calling the villain theory. The idea that this weak yen is causing some serious, real-world pain. So the main argument here is really straightforward, and honestly, it's personal. It's that a weak yen hits people right where it hurts the most, their wallets. You know, the cost of just living goes up, but your paycheck isn't, and that puts a major squeeze on household budgets. And this isn't just a theory. You can see it in the numbers. Japan has to import a ton of its energy and food, right? So when the yen gets weaker, bam, household utility bills shot up by 15%, and essential foods, things like bread and noodles, those jumped by a whopping 20%.
Now, here's the real kicker. Even if you were lucky enough to get a raise, prices were climbing way faster. So in 2023, your real wages, which is just a fancy way of saying how much stuff your money can actually buy, they actually fell by 2.5%. You're working just as hard, but you're effectively getting poorer. But the worry goes beyond just the immediate pain at the checkout. Critics are saying this creates a really dangerous dependency. It's like, instead of companies innovating and investing in new tech to get better, they can just rely on this currency trick to make their products seem cheaper. And in the long run, that could really dull Japan's competitive edge on the world stage.
All right, but let's flip the coin. There's a completely different way to look at this, and it's called the opportunity theory. This side argues the weak yen is actually a huge benefit for Japan.
From this perspective, the weak yen isn't a problem at all. It's a powerful engine for growth. Think about it. By making Japanese products cheaper for everyone else in the world, it basically supercharges the country's most important industries.
And you don't have to look far for proof. Just look at Toyota. Their operating profit exploded. It went up by over 30% in just 1 year. And the main reason? You guessed it. The weak yen made their cars a much better deal for customers in places like the US and Europe.
And it's not just about cars either. Suddenly, Japan became a total bargain for tourists. In 2023, spending by visitors hit a record high. And for 2024, it's projected to blow past an incredible 6 trillion yen. That is a massive injection of cash for local businesses all over the country.
So the long-term thinking here is really strategic. The supporters of this view say, look, this encourages our manufacturers to bring factories back home to Japan. It gives global giants like Sony and Hitachi a leg up on the competition. And maybe most importantly, it could finally create the healthy inflation Japan needs to break free from decades of economic stagnation. Okay, so we've got two completely different narratives here, right? One of pain for the average person and one of big opportunity for the country. Let's look at exactly where these two views collide. The first big disagreement is all about wages. The villain theory camp says, hold on, all that profit is just getting stuck at the top. Big companies like Toyota are doing great, but what about the small and medium-sized businesses? You know, the ones that employ almost everybody? They're getting hammered by higher costs and they just can't afford to give raises. But the opportunity side says, hey, just be patient. The big companies are starting to give raises and that money will eventually trickle down and lift up the whole economy. The second huge clash is about whether this growth is even real. Is it sustainable? The villain side says no, it's an illusion. They call it a currency crunch. It's like a sugar high that feels good now but stops companies from doing the real hard work of innovating for the future. On the other hand, the opportunity side sees it as a catalyst. They say this is the spark, this is the profit that's going to fund the investment to make Japan's industrial base stronger for years to come. Okay, so we've heard both sides of the argument. Where does that leave us? What's the big takeaway? So let's recap the case against the weak yen, the villain argument. Essentially, it's that you're sacrificing the financial well-being of everyday people and crushing the small businesses that are the backbone of the economy, all for the benefit of a few giant exporters. And the case for the weak yen, the opportunity argument, It's that the short-term pain is a necessary trade-off. It's the price you have to pay to achieve these really important long-term goals, like rebuilding your industrial core and finally breaking out of that cycle of economic stagnation. So in the end, this isn't really just about exchange rates, is it? It's about a fundamental choice for the future of Japan's economy. And it really boils down to this one big question. What's the better bet for Japan's future? A nation that's more affordable for the rest of the world, or one that's more affordable for its own people?